It's just a total chaotic mess in terms of trying to protect the endpoint. A Las Vegas in America was breached because they had a fish tank online on a webcam, and the fish tank is an endpoint. Endpoint security is such a big piece of the puzzle because it's the core. It's effectively at the heart of the risk. It's connected to everything. It's the route in for your users. If you're a manufacturing company, it's the machines that you're potentially automating on your production line. It's the route for the attackers to come in. There was a very famous incident where a Las Vegas in America was breached because they had a fish tank that was showing the fish online on a webcam. That webcam in the fish tank is an endpoint. Anything that connects to your network, whether internet connection or not, is an endpoint. That also means that mobile phones, tablets, even though they're not a physical wired connection, they are a wireless connection through your systems into it. I'm Matt White, I'm the CEO of XaaS Ltd. I'm an author and I'm also the ex-Global Head of InfoSec Strategy at Chanel. So if you go back to the 70s, you live in a fridge, your day job is servers, you're wearing a cardigan, you've got a beard. Your network is quite simple, it's quite small. You control every single device that sits on it, which is really one big server and then some what we call dumb terminals, some screens and keyboards. Nothing can connect to the network because it's actually a complicated process to connect something to it. Imagine this is your network in the 70s. It's fairly obvious that I can protect it and it's easy to protect. It's now the 90s, but now you've probably got hundreds, for some big enterprises, thousands of computers. You've got a few servers, maybe hundreds of servers, and to put it in perspective, there's now hundreds of thousands of applications that you can put on, but you control everything. Internet isn't really a thing yet. You're controlling everything by restricting the access of a floppy disk and the ability to actually install software. In that circumstance, your network is probably a little bit bigger. It's still big enough that you can protect it. It's a little bit harder. Antivirus is probably the suite of software for choice. Now fast forward to, well, now. You've now got billions of applications. Every single device that could potentially be connecting, you have no control over it. There's multiple applications that all interact. Data is now interconnected. Everybody connects to the internet. You're using cloud platforms. It's just a total chaotic mess in terms of trying to protect the endpoint. Now, to put it in really simple terms, if I blow the balloon up a bit more, that's probably now the equivalent of your network. Now, it's obviously quite hard to protect it in any one place. You could potentially do it, but at any one time, you're tracking the individuals trying to pop your balloon. They're trying to break your network. This pin represents an attacker. I'm chasing, and wherever I put my hand, I'm projecting and preventing that attacker from attacking me. But now, picture there isn't just one of these. There's thousands of these, potentially hundreds of thousands, from a script kiddie working out of his mum's basement through to a nation-state attack, depending on the type of company you are, trying to attack you. And with one foul stroke, a small prick can destroy a network. And it's that problem of scale, of complexity, and of sheer volume of attackers with a growing attack surface that makes it that much harder to protect. With modern day, is a standard antivirus really good enough? The reality is probably no. It is needed. Something called endpoint detection and response is like antivirus on steroids. It not only identifies your classic signature stuff and then the behavioral thing like next-gen antivirus, but then it also prevents, blocks, and potentially remediates sandboxes and isolates the various bits of malicious code, the malicious actions, in a much more advanced way than traditional antivirus can be. Spending a bit more on that type of protection system is like an insurance policy. It will potentially protect you from an awful lot of damage further down the line.
Cyber criminals have moved towards AI and machine learning to make their attacks more sophisticated. IDC's report from 2019 showed that around 30% of businesses believe that endpoint security is one of the main components of their security practices overall.
As a doctor, I know that at a certain point you are going to be ill. And there are certain antibiotics that when I know that you're going to be ill, I can give it to you in a reactive way. We call that downstream. A problem occurs and then you react to it and you try and fix it after it's happened. So in a network perspective, someone hacks into my network, I try and I kick them out and I block that port from ever happening again. That's a reactive, that's downstream. But upstream thinking is much more like, in the medical terms, the vaccine program that's happening around the world with the pandemic. You know that you may well catch it, but you can make it better by having a vaccine up front, and therefore you're upstream thinking, you're preventing it from happening on the outset. That type of transformation can only happen if you start collaborating. Different departments of a business, different areas of a company, different groups of financial authorities and regulatory bodies all have to start working together to create a collaborative approach, because it's not a point-in-time fix, plugging in the latest tech, the latest shiny box that's going to secure a network. But it's much more than that now. Now it's a team game, and that means that everybody has to work together.